Imagine a world where almost every nation on Earth is pulled into a single, massive war. Cities are reduced to ruins, millions of lives are lost, and human history is forever changed. World War II was not just another conflict. It was the largest, deadliest, and most influential war in human history. More than 70 million people lost their lives. Military technology advanced at an unprecedented pace, and the world that emerged after the war was never the same again. Today, we will explore the full story of World War II, from its origins to its major battles, and its lasting impact on the modern world. World War II did not begin overnight. Its roots can be traced back to the end of World War I in 1918. Germany. This treaty was harsh, to say the least. It severely limited Germany's military, crippled its economy with heavy reparations, and deeply humiliated the German people. These conditions created a perfect storm of resentment and national anger. It was out of this chaos that extreme ideologies began to rise. In Italy, fascism took hold under Benito Mussolini. In Germany, it was Nazism, led by Adolf Hitler. And in Japan, a powerful militaristic regime was on the ascendant. These regimes, though different in some ways, shared a core set of dangerous beliefs: expansion through force, and the idea that war was a legitimate solution to national problems. The tension that had been building for 2 decades finally snapped. On September 1st, 1939, Germany invaded Poland. They used a revolutionary new military strategy known as Blitz or Lightning War. By combining the overwhelming power of tanks, aircraft, and rapid, coordinated ground attacks, they caught Poland completely off guard. The country fell within weeks. 2 days later, Britain and France, honoring their alliance with Poland, declared war on Germany. World War II had officially begun. The initial phase of the war was a terrifying display of German military might. Soon after Poland, the seemingly invincible French army was defeated, and France fell. The Netherlands and Belgium were also quickly overrun. It seemed like nothing could stop the Nazi war machine as it swept across the continent, bringing much of Europe under its control. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, Japan was expanding its own war in China and aggressively moving towards Southeast Asia. Eyeing the rich resources of the region, the conflict was rapidly escalating beyond Europe. By 1941, the war had become a truly global conflict. The event that pulled the world's largest industrial power into the fray happened on December 7, 1941. Japan launched a devastating surprise attack on the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. The attack destroyed American warships, tragically killed thousands of service members, and shattered America's policy of isolationism. The United States was forced to enter the war. The world was now starkly divided into 2 major alliances. On one side were the Allies, led by the United States, the United Kingdom, and the Soviet Union, along with many other nations. On the other were the Axis powers, primarily Germany, Italy, and Japan. The fighting spread like wildfire across the globe, from the frozen Eastern Front in Russia to the deserts of North Africa, from the vast Pacific Ocean to the jungles of East and Southeast Asia. No region of the world was left untouched by the shadow of this immense conflict. Despite their early, stunning successes, the Axis powers began to lose their momentum. A series of critical battles turned the tide of the war. One of the most significant was the Battle of Stalingrad, which raged from 1942 to 1943. Deep inside the Soviet Union, German forces became trapped in a brutal, citywide battle of attrition. The battle resulted in Germany's first major land defeat and was a decisive turning point on the crucial Eastern Front. Then, on June 6, 1944, came D-Day. Allied forces launched the largest amphibious invasion in history, landing on the beaches of Normandy, France. This massive operation successfully opened a new front in Western Europe, forcing Germany to fight on 2 sides. It marked the beginning of the end for Nazi occupation. In the Pacific, the United States was pushing back against Japan, using an island-hopping strategy to methodically capture key islands, getting ever closer to the Japanese mainland. By 1945, defeat for the Axis powers was inevitable. As Allied forces closed in from both the East and the West, Adolf Hitler took his own life, in his bunker deep beneath Berlin. Germany surrendered unconditionally on May 7, 1945, ending the war in Europe. However, the war wasn't over. In the Pacific, Japan fought on fiercely, refusing to surrender. Faced with the prospect of a bloody invasion, the United States made a world-altering decision. In August 1945, 2 atomic bombs were dropped on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The unprecedented destruction finally compelled Japan to surrender on September 2, 1945. World War II had, at last, come to an end. The aftermath of the war was a world left utterly devastated. Tens of millions were dead. Entire cities were nothing more than rubble. Nations and peoples were left traumatized by 6 years of unimaginable violence. Yet, from this incredible destruction, a new world began to emerge. The United Nations was created in the hope of preventing such a catastrophe from ever happening again. The beginning of the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union would come to define the next half-century, and independence movements gained unstoppable momentum across former colonies in Asia and Africa. World War II stands as the ultimate, chilling warning about the dangers of unchecked ambition, hatred, and total war. World War II reminds us that a single ideology, a single decision, can change the fate of the entire world. History is not just about the past. It is a lesson for the future. If you enjoy deep historical documentaries like this, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment with your thoughts. Thanks for watching.